Hello everyone and welcome back to the H.I.R.O model TR-01-A tutorial series, and today we will be talking about how to program your H.I.R.O unit so you can make H.I.R.O do whatever you program it to do and how to set up the environment to do just that. So step one, you're going to log into your computer and go to www.arduino.cc, link down in the description, and you're going to go to products and click Arduino IDE here. Download and install the version that is compatible with your operating system. So I'm going to download for Windows 10 and 11 here. Follow the steps required for you to install. So once you install Arduino IDE, it is time to make Raspberry Pi Pico that you have on the robot here compatible with Arduino IDE. So Raspberry Pi Pico, not being an Arduino microcontroller, is not natively compatible with Arduino IDE, and we can actually fix that. To make Arduino IDE compatible with this Raspberry Pi Pico, we need to find a board manager for Raspberry Pi Pico. So I'm going to use this link found in our GitHub. There will be a link below, and I will actually paste this link. It's a link to a GitHub repo for someone called H.I.R.O. It's a repo connecting your Raspberry Pi Pico board manager designed for Arduino IDE. So once you've copied the URL to the board manager repo, open Arduino IDE, go to File, go all the way down to Preferences, and you should see a dialog box that says Additional Board Manager URLs. I already have it pasted in here, but I can just show you how to do it again. I can either right-click and then press Paste, or say Control-V on Windows, and I'll say OK. This makes the board manager available to us, so go to the left side. There should be a picture of a file folder, a picture of a board, and a library, and a couple more icons down here. Select the board, so this opens the board manager window on the left-hand side, and search Raspberry Pi Pico. In the list, you should see three options. I want you to click install the second option where it says Raspberry Pi Pico RP2040, RP2350. This option became available to us because of the step we did earlier using that URL. So go ahead and click install. Once this is done installing, Arduino IDE should become compatible with Raspberry Pi Pico, and that's a great first step. So now that the board manager is installed, now it's time to test our setup. So I'm going to hit File, Examples, and Arduino has a lot of built-in examples. I'm going to go to Basics, and I'm going to select an example called Blink in Basics. So now that I've opened Blink, this is a program that should allow a built-in LED on the Raspberry Pi Pico to turn on and off. So it'll turn on for 1 second, it'll turn off for a second, and it's just going to go in a loop over and over and over again. If I have the setup right, this LED on the Raspberry Pi Pico should just turn on and off. First, we got to select the board we're using. So you go to Tools, then you go to this one that says Board, and I'm going to go to select this option here where it says Raspberry Pi Pico RP2040, RP2350. And on my unit, I happen to be using a Raspberry Pi Pico 2W. Some of you might have a Raspberry Pico W. You should be able to tell by looking at your board. So if it's a 2W, it'll say a 2W. If it doesn't have this silver part here, then either it's a Raspberry Pi Pico or Raspberry Pi Pico 2. There's different models, but make sure that you have the right model selected when you do this, and hit Tools again. Now that it knows what board to use, we need to know which port it's connected to, and about that I need to connect it to a port. When you plug it in, the preloaded software might start running like so, and at this point you should hold it so it doesn't run off or mess with anything that you don't want it to mess with. Because some previous code is running on the Raspberry Pi Pico, just hold it while it does its thing. So go to Tools, and now it's time to select a port. So go all the way down to port, and underneath the serial ports, you should see one that says COM some number. It will say Raspberry Pi Pico and the model that you're using. The first time you use it, it might not actually say this. It might say UF2. So I'm just going to select this one, and I'm going to click Upload. It should make the LED that's on the Raspberry Pi Pico. It's kind of difficult to see here, but you'll see it when it starts turning on and off. It might be a little bit difficult to see, so I'll bring it up like that. So now we know that Arduino IDE is now compatible with Raspberry Pi Pico. So the next thing we need to do is install the H.I.R.O libraries. There are example codes in there. There are functions that work with the choreography. So now Arduino IDE is now compatible with Raspberry Pi Pico, and we can use Arduino IDE to program Raspberry Pi Pico all we want. So the next step is to install the H.I.R.O library. So the process is actually similar to installing a board manager, but instead of going to the board manager's icon, we go down to this kind of bookshelf icon right here, and we click on that. And in the search bar here, we search H.I.R.O. Once you see this option, it says H.I.R.O by Joseph K. Spear, that's actually me, and Takamori robot. Click install. And this should download all the code, examples, and like functions and libraries that make H.I.R.O work. So first thing we're going to do is we want to play with some examples. So we can go down to File, Examples, and you might have to go pretty far down here, and then you'll see examples from custom libraries. And it looks like I have a couple here, but let's look at the one that we just installed, the one called H.I.R.O. Demo Dance was the software that we already had running on it out of the box. Center servos, that's the software we will use when fixing the alignment on servos. I'm not quite prepared to talk about that yet. What I want to show you is serial control. So in the serial control code here, we are calling a couple H.I.R.O libraries, and we're declaring an instance of H.I.R.O. And we are saying H.I.R.O.begin, so this sets H.I.R.O up to work with this specific version of H.I.R.O using these pins and these peripheries that are on this board right here. What this code does is the Raspberry Pi Pico here waits for a signal from the serial monitor. Let's upload it first. When you upload the code, it'll compile. This light will stop blinking, and then H.I.R.O will actually stand up straight, ready to go. To open the serial monitor, go to Tools, go to Serial Monitor, it should be up here, and just click. So what this program does is it waits for input from the serial monitor. Serial monitor allows us to send serial data back and forth from the Raspberry Pi Pico to the laptop. So in this case, we actually have a message coming from H.I.R.O in the form of text where it says, "Hello, my name is H.I.R.O. And what we're going to do is we're going to send text back, in this case in the form of numbers, to run different commands from 1 through 10 actually, where H.I.R.O will receive the command and run a pre-choreographed series of movements. If I write a 1 in the serial monitor dialog box and I press enter, H.I.R.O moves forward. If I press 2 and I press enter, H.I.R.O moves backwards. If I press 3, H.I.R.O does a cute little wave. Hi H.I.R.O. If I press 4, H.I.R.O turns left. If I press 5, H.I.R.O turns right. If I press 6, H.I.R.O does a charming little dance, like a side-to-side worm. If I press 7, H.I.R.O does a side-to-side stretch. If I press 8, H.I.R.O does some push-ups. If I press 9, H.I.R.O does a cabbage patch. Okay, look at H.I.R.O go. There we go. And if I press 10, H.I.R.O does another cabbage patch, just a different version. Okay. All right, let's not let him walk off the table. With that, Arduino IDE is set up to program both the Raspberry Pi Pico and H.I.R.O itself. Keep playing with the examples and tune back in for more Zero to Hero tips about making your H.I.R.O unit great. Next time we'll go more into detail about how to make your own custom code for H.I.R.O using Takamori robots, H.I.R.O libraries. Anyway, see you next time.